Aw yeah, you guys like Doom? 'Cause I like Doom. Well, I played the original games back in the day, and I saw that terrible Doom movie that The Rock was in, but it still counts. And since Doom Eternal came out recently, and it's like the video game to be playing right now, at least until a few more people get their hands on the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I thought, what better time to review Doom Annihilation, that movie Netflix made that has nothing to do with Doom Eternal at all. You're welcome, Internet. I'll make this very simple. Doom Annihilation is what happens when a movie spends 95% of its runtime watching aliens with a massive case of penis envy, and then in the last 10 minutes finally remembers that, oh crap, this was supposed to be a Doom movie, wasn't it? That's pretty much what happened here. For 80 solid minutes, this movie is trying to be a low-budget amalgamation of the first two Alien movies, and only remembers what it's actually based on in one scene at the very end. And that's kind of a shame, because that scene is easily the best scene in the movie. It's also obviously where most of the money went. If the entire movie had been like that, they might have had something semi-decent here. Unfortunately, well, you know. It's incredibly transparent what happened to this project. For long stretches of time, they're doing everything they can think of to evoke, copy some might say, the formula of a classic sci-fi action film this movie desperately wanted to be. A crew of space marines, one of them who's totally not a Ripley clone, another one who's totally not a Hudson clone, wake up from cryogenic sleep and have to enter an outpost on a distant moon that's been overrun by monsters. Basically just the plot of Aliens, right? Now imagine if James Cameron had shot that movie on a fraction of the budget, and instead of xenomorphs attacking the Marines in claustrophobic, creepy-as-hell set pieces, you had a bunch of humans in Star Trek-esque facial prosthetics chasing the Marines through cheap-looking empty hallways. None of it looks terribly impressive, and the low budget is pretty obvious at the best of times. There are one or two nods to the games, like someone killing a demon with a chainsaw, though what a chainsaw would be doing on a space station I have no idea. But we're talking blink-and-you-miss-it stuff here, and until the BFG shows up, you wouldn't even know this was supposed to be a Doom movie at all. And it's not content to only copy Aliens. It takes a lot of cues from the original Alien, too. And that's one of my favorite movies of all time, so I understand the temptation, but if you're gonna do that, you better do it well. Do they? Not really. For example, in Ridley Scott's Alien, you have scenes of the crew of the Nostromo sitting around a table in the mess hall eating together. At a glance, that's all they're doing. But during this scene, through their conversations, you're being fed a lot of information about these characters, who they are, what their quirks are, and how they interact with one another, so the scene is planting seeds for things that will pay off later in the film. Doom Annihilation has a scene like that. But here, it's just a bunch of people shooting the shit and talking about random stuff that never goes anywhere, never leads to any real development for any of them, and for the most part is never mentioned again, because most of this cast is pretty disposable outside of the main character and to a lesser extent the science guy. Now on the plus side, those two actually do seem like capable actors who are nicely cast in these roles and play off each other fairly well. The whole dynamic between them could so easily have been another throwaway, but they're able to make it work, which is helped by the fact that the script puts a little more thought into these two than the others. There are no scintillating character studies here, but at least these two have characters. And if the movie has a redeeming quality, it's them. More specifically, the main character played by Amy Manson, whose name is spelled wrong in the opening title sequence, by the way. Truth be told, I only watched this movie in the first place because Amy Manson was in it. I was about to do a podcast about Joss Whedon's new HBO series. She's gonna be on that show, so I wanted to check her out. And is her character very reminiscent of Ripley? Yes. Does the movie give her anything to sink her teeth into acting-wise? Not really. But for what she does have to do here, she's not terrible. Her character has an arc, or something that resembles an arc. She's not a Mary Sue or some Yes Queen Slay ideologue. I thought she performed the action reasonably well. She got me to sympathize with her when they started revealing her backstory. Granted, there's not a lot of meat on the bone here, but she was able to do enough with it that by the end of the movie, I cared if this character lived or died, and I wanted to see her get through this, which I really couldn't say about that other Doom movie from 2005. I'm not saying she knocked my socks off or anything, because this isn't that type of movie, but it did make me want to see what she could do if she were put in something legitimately good. Joss Whedon's The Nevers on HBO Max cannot get here soon enough. So basically, what this movie amounts to is two characters that we kinda sorta give a crap about, and a bunch of others who you'd be hard-pressed to even remember what their names are, running through empty hallways and getting picked off one by human beings in makeup doing their best Rage Zombie and 28 Days Later impression. And don't get me wrong, the lack of money really hobbles this thing, but there are some attempts to pay homage to the games here. The threat actually comes from hell this time, unlike in the 2005 movie, and there is that cool sequence at the end where the demons finally look like the demons from the games. Well, some of them anyway. The green screen work is not ideal, but that sequence actually looks like a Doom movie ought to look, and I did like this part. The movie obviously desperately wants to be Aliens, and doesn't have the money to be Aliens or Doom, quite frankly, but in those rare moments when it embraces the movie it's supposed to be, and not just half-heartedly so, all things considered, it doesn't do that bad a job. The main thing holding this movie back was the tight budget. If they'd had the money to pull off some bigger set pieces and action scenes, better CG, and do a couple rewrites to flesh out the other characters, I think this could have potentially been okay. As it is, it's hardly a masterpiece, but the 05 movie set the bar pretty damn low, and is Doom Annihilation better than that thing was at least? I think it is. That being said, if you're any kind of Doom fan who wants this franchise to get a fair shake, you're probably better off just sticking with the games. Guys, let me know what you thought of Doom Annihilation in the comments below. Ding that bell icon and follow me on Twitter using the link in the description so you'll always know when I upload new videos. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and make sure you're still subscribed, because when Doom opened that portal to hell, the first thing that came out of it was the YouTube algorithm. Do all the things, and I'll be back soon with more videos. Until then, stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you next time.